When something goes bump, we need something else to bump back. Welcome to a Fifth of Jack Gaming, where we're going to be reviewing Something is Killing the Children, Volume 1. This is the first volume. That's right. That means with our spooky, crazy Halloween-ish holidays, we're going to do some spookier stuff. So, we dove in and did Something is Killing the Children, Volume 1. We're going to be covering Volume 2 sometime this month. Also, we have a nice little dash that's going to be following this video, coming in the next video. It's a little bit different, but I've heard some things about that issue. So stay tuned for something like that. It does deal with if something is killing the children, though. But if you want to pick up Something is Killing the Children, Volume 1 or Volume 2, go visit Organic Price Books. Use the code FIFAJACK to save $2 off. If you have 4 or more books, use the code JACKETTOGETHER instead to be able to save 5% off your entire order. Orders with $30 or more gets free shipping through Media Mail, so you get to see how bomb-proof shipping that Organic Price Books sends your books. Without further ado, let's switch it on over and see what we think about Something is Killing the Children, Volume 1. And if you're just curious, this includes the first 15 episodes. This includes the first 15 issues of Something is Killing the Children. This is a deluxe copy, but we're going to slide on over to the people over at Hoopla to be able to show you the issue. All right, so this is from the mind of James Tynion IV. So it's kind of our first introduction over to it, and it's kind of a little bit of exciting of a book that comes over with it. So like I normally end up been doing lately is we're going to end up going through the art, and then while we're going through the art, we're going to have a nice little voiceover action breaking down some synopsis of this story. And before we go too far, I do want to give a warning. There is going to be more of a mature, I guess, context that comes over there. There's some swearing, and there is a little bit of, well, bloodshed and action like that. So viewers' discretion is going to be advised. The story starts with a truth and dare gone wrong, with the only survivor being questioned and interrogated for all the stuff that's happened with his friends, and wishy that he's the only survivor. Then we come over to Miss Erica Slaughter, where she just finished up a mission, and she's about to head over to Archer's Peak, where all these murders just happened at the start of the story, where we see James, the person that was the sole survivor, dealing with the fallout from the next day of going to school. And he ends up meeting Miss Erica Slaughter, and she starts interrogating him and figuring out ways to be able to deal with this monster. Following that, we get introduced to what ended up happening, that beloved night that ended up happening for Josh. And then we also end up getting to know about the magical octopus that has a secret that's behind it. And we also end up learning about Erica's sort of origins of what ended up happening and how she became who she is. And then we end up being on the mission for the hunt, and then they end up grabbing supplies to be able to go do this hunt for the monster that has been killing people. We get introduced to a different order that ends up making the call about the entire monsters, to only see that the one monster get taken out, but there's a secret. There's many of the monsters out there. We start off the story with the bodies being found by the police. And then we end up flashing over to Erica, who's over at a police station talking to a little kid that allows her to be confirmed that there are 5 monsters out there. That's right, there's 5 of them out there. We end up going over to where they ended up making a makeshift morgue of the high school, where they end up having the bodies, and then we end up going where we have Erica in the woods talking to her handy-dandy octopus, attacking these guys, where we also find a member of her alliance that comes over with it, or should I say an order that comes along with it and helps her in the process. And her order member ends up finding out that there's not one, but 5 of them, and we're actually part of a nest of these evil monsters. Then we end up having them back over in the woods with a bunch of teenagers, where we end up having one person that's surviving, and it happens to be when the sheriff ends up coming in and seeing that. And then fast forward to the story a bit, that we ended up having the order member help over and possibly give up his life trying to protect these. We start the story off with what was the fallout from the night that James ended up going through the craziness, and how a person was there for it, or should I say, a teacher being there for him. And then we get a glimpse into the order that Erica ends up following, or part of, or whatever it is loosely with. Eventually, we end up going down the pipeline where they attempting to try and take over these monsters, but Erica is being down pretty ballsy. But they ended up sending another group of the people from the order to come in and help, and in the process they do help out a bit. And we also end up being exposed to Erica's magical octopus, who ends up being discovered as the creature that she ended up capturing into it, that ended up taking her parents, and is firstly exposed to everyone over. Eventually, the order ends up, or eventually Erica and the order ends up being these monsters, and we end up coming to the 1 week later, when we end up seeing the fallout from what ended up happening that transpired through that one night. And we end up seeing that Erica ended up getting her mission completed, and it is time for her to leave Archer's Landing for the one and last time, and having a separation from her and James, which had a nice connectivity with one another. Now let's slide from here and go back over so we can end up giving our final thoughts about the book. So the book, well, honestly, with Boom Studios, I kind of have a problem with how they ended up putting it together, because the binding ends up going. My deluxe is starting to get a little bit wonky. That's kind of why I kind of decided to go with the Hoopla option, because I didn't really want to put any more wear and tear. But if you look, my bind is a little goofy there, right? I don't know what it is, but I had that same power with the Power Rangers book, and it seems like it's a constant thing. I tried stretching the binding a few times before I ended up reading this, and I don't know if I'm doing something wrong or doing something that's going over with it, or if it's just the build of the book itself. It's a common problem that I've been having with Boom Studios. If you're having that problem, let us know down in the comments down below. And if you had a way that you had, or if there was a way that you remedied it, let us know as well. But with that said, we're going to be talking about just the story with it. So there was a couple times I got a little bit lost in the panels where I started reading the book, and I noticed that I missed chunks of it, and immediately had to go back over and reread that. So that was a little bit confusing. However, that's all right, because once you got through it, it was kind of worth the reread of that. And the story was okay. It's a nice driven story that you end up having throughout the entire 15 issues that you have of the book. And it's kind of unique because they have it broken down by the chapters instead of the individual issues, which is a nice little touch to it. All right. I know you're looking forward to what we're thinking about the book score-wise. So I'm going to give this a 4 out of 5. Yes, it's a good story. It's nice going over with it. But the little confusion I had to go with it kind of brought me a little bit out of the story. But then I was able to get back into the story. But it wasn't like I must end up reading this. And then also the book design, or the book having problems and everything, kind of drives me a little bit nuts when I was reading it, because I'm like, oh man, this is legitimately falling apart as I'm reading it. I don't know what it is, but it's just always with something with Boom. So I don't know. However, it is a nice solid story that you ended up having a premise for it, and it's a nice way to find out that there's something killing the children. If you're liking the content we're putting out, like, subscribe, and hit that little bell icon to be notified whenever we're coming out with new content. Thank you for watching, and until next time, we'll see you guys later.